Get ready to go deep down the rabbit hole. I had to say it. The new series of the same name takes viewers on a wild ride through the shadowy world of corporate espionage and master deception. And just when you think you have the story figured out, the rabbit hole takes yet another turn. Coming out of the hole, forgive me again, I had to say that. Joining us here today, series stars Charles Dance, Meta Golding, Enid Graham, Rob Yang, and Walt Klink, as well as the creators of the new Paramount Plus show, Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. Welcome all.
Thank you.
About a show that I'm so terrified I will say the wrong thing and spoil the entire season. So, showrunners.
You've already ruined it.
Yeah, it's already done. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Glenn and John, what can you say about Rabbit Hole that will make sure that there's a season 2 and you don't get fired?
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And by the way, this is live. This is live.
This is live. Okay. Well.
I don't know.
What we can say is, the fun is in the guessing. I think that trying to figure out what's going on is part of the fun. We just want people to lean in and see and just watch.
Yeah, there's no confusion for confusion's sake. It's a puzzle. We want the audience to sit forward. We want the one-screen experience of Rabbit Hole. We don't want them to watch. Check their emails and things like that. We want them to pay attention, and we're not hiding anything. It's all there, laying out in front of them. And are they smarter than we are?
It's rewarding, and it's also very frustrating in a good way, because you watch it and you're like, oh, I got this character down. Oh, I do not. And then you're sitting there thinking, and as you know, this probably was intentional. A large part of the experience, the relationship with the viewers and the character, make them relatable. Who's the good guy? Who's the heroine? Who do you empathize with? And by episode 2, you're like, oh, jerk. Episode 3, jerk-ish. And so, did I mess it up so far? Is everything good?
No, you're good.
All right, so good. And
we just got canceled.
Yeah, all because of me. People will not be eating because of me. But you decide. Let me say this. Kiefer's in it. Can we say that? Kiefer Sutherland's in it.
That's not a spoiler.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Kiefer's in it.
He's on the billboards, man.
He's a man in trouble. He's a man in trouble.
Yes.
And when you were coming up with this show, where it's a puzzle, it's a labyrinth, you have to pay attention. Why'd you decide? All right, Kiefer, he's going to be the guy.
I mean, I think a lot
Even
of it.
that's a secret.
No, it's not a secret. He's a guy who's super smart and super ahead of everything, and he knows. Sometimes he knows a lot more than the audience, and sometimes he's a little behind it. But a lot of times, he's pulling a fast one, and you want the audience to stay with him. And he's like America's hero, and everybody trusts him. So even when he does something that looks like it's bad, in the end he's going to come through.
And we're kind of discovering this universe and the plot along with him. Mm-hmm. And the other characters come along and they have just bits and pieces of information. One of those characters is played by Charles, Dr. Ben Watson. And I have to say this, because I'm an old head, and I was telling Charles right before, one of the first movies I saw in the theater was Golden Child.
Woohoo!
Actually, let's give it up to Charles Dance. Let's get up to his career. Charles Dance.
Yes!
Terrified me as a child. Terrified me as an adult in Game of Thrones. And now he's here. That's a compliment, sir.
I take it as such.
Thank you. This role, all right. How would you describe the role of Dr. Ben Watson? I'm a pro, that's why.
He's a kindly, benevolent father figure and doctor. He's also a monstrous liar.
Perfect. Well played. There's a scene in which your character shares his prescription for global domination, without saying too much. Discrediting the news, dividing people over hot-button issues, creating chaos, then running a crooked candidate who promises to restore order. Where on earth did you all come up with that far-fetched idea? Where did that come from?
No,
Science fiction.
Science fiction. And you might have already said too much. All right, but we have also Meta's character, and it's funny because this character, without revealing too much, how would you say? Why does your character voluntarily decide to court trouble with Kiefer's character?
Well, I mean, she doesn't. She's trying to go on a date. I mean, I guess is wanting love or wanting a little action trouble. I mean,
Yes, it
good.
really is.
I mean,
Yeah.
good trouble, bad trouble. I mean,
If I answered the question, it would be a spoiler, so don't ask.
yeah. So I mean, I think that the whole. Our whole show is about trust, right? And so it's about trust. Can you trust the government? Can you trust your lover? Can you trust your friends? Manipulation. So it's, she decides to go on a date with this man and her whole world explodes. Or does it? I mean, it's
This is the most fun interview I've had all day. Is this real or is it not? We don't know. Is this AI? Rob, your character, without giving anything away, Edward Homm, gets roped in as well. What is your character trying to accomplish?
You mean outside of getting unbound and ungagged? I think he thinks that life is pretty good, yeah, and then he's clearly wrong about that.
Understatement.
Yeah.
Well, his world gets upended like everybody else's.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's world gets upended. It's a really bad day.
It's a really bad.
Episode 1 is a
terrible
really
day.
bad day for
It's a
everybody.
really bad
Yeah.
day for everyone, and that unraveling brings them together in interesting ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we revisit it. You haven't seen this part, but we revisit that day a couple of times, and see it from other perspectives.
Kiefer described the show, and he gave a reference to this great movie, so I have to name call it 3 Days of the Condor.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic movie, took place in the 70s, starring Robert Rodriguez, during a time, much like now, where people lost their faith in authority, people lost their faith in government, people lost their faith in institutions. And spoiler alert for those people who have seen that movie, even in that movie, you don't know who's an ally, who's not. Even the ending,
Correct.
you don't know. And he said, it's kind of like that. And before watching it, I was like, I'm hooked, I'm there. And Enid, a playwright, I got to tip my hat to a playwright. There's a playwright in the house. Give it
So happy that someone cares about playwrights.
former recovering
Real writer.
former recovering playwright, but you are an award-winning actor and playwright. Doing this show in this moment, what does it say about where we are, right? As people, as actors, when it comes to acting in theater, it's all deception. That's part of it.
All of acting
Yeah,
is deception.
but there's an agreement with the audience that I'm willing to be deceived.
That's right.
But when it comes to institutions,
Yeah.
it's like I'm supposed to trust you.
Yeah.
And you're playing that with the knowledge of also living in a country, living in a society right now where we don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
Did I give too much away?
No, brilliantly done. Yeah, the whole show speaks to this crazy moment I think that we're living in now, where you don't know if you can even trust your own eyes, what you see. You see something on the news and then a politician tells you it's the exact opposite of what you saw.
Where does that happen?
I know, I'm speaking off the top of my head,
Huh.
But, so, to me, as soon as I read the script, I was like, wow, this is the perfect show for now. We're all trying to figure out who we can trust. And if we can and certainly, can we trust the things that we thought we could trust all these years? So I think it's told in a really fun, entertaining way, but it's quite frightening.
Fast-paced, fun, entertaining.
Yeah.
It's the word. It's not convoluted. It's a labyrinth. It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
invites you along.
Yeah, I
right?
like what they said.
Yeah.
I think this is really great that it doesn't cheat. It's complicated, but it's all in there.
So
It's
you're
a
promising
machine.
me rewards,
All
paying
Yes.
attention, not being on TikTok.
Everything
All
will
will
be
be
answered.
revealed.
Yeah.
Everything will be revealed.
And Walt, you will represent. You will be the ambassador of Gen Z, of all Gen Z, of all cool kids, and you play. Well, okay. What do you play in Rabbit Hole? Your role.
I don't know what to say right now.
You're just you
You're an
are
intern.
an innocent intern who may or may not be an innocent intern.
Who may be
Yeah.
more than he seems to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well played. But
He could be an FBI
he
informant.
could be. In Netherlands, he's the second Dutch person I've had here today.
Really?
You're a big deal, sir, in the Netherlands. You're going to be a big deal here now. How was it like dealing with this crew? For you, an international crew, dealing with American actors on set?
It's funny. This is my second international project, but I'm always the youngest for some reason in everything.
Because of the talent.
Because you're young.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You know.
And we're old.
It's true that Walt is young.
He is young.
Yeah, he keeps throwing that
He
around.
keeps
No, but
boasting
people
about
keep
it.
mentioning it.
You know, he keeps
He
making,
likes to remind us
he likes
how
to
old
remind
we
us
Charles,
how
you
old
should
we
just
are.
drag off a cigarette, just blow in his face, just quietly, young buck. No, but it's a great cast. It's a diverse cast in terms of age, in terms of background.
Absolutely.
For a show that is a global show, in which, regardless if you're in the Netherlands, if you're in Pakistan, if you're in America, we don't know who to trust right now.
Yeah.
We don't know what to believe in, and we've just barely survived a pandemic,
Yeah.
and we're here together
Yes.
for the first time at South by Southwest. This was the second year in a row. So when we came back last year, it was just like amazing just to be with people.
Yeah.
And now we're here again. It's amazing to be with you. And Charles, what is it about the need for connection, just human connection in an age where you I'm gonna assume, I think you might be my age, but there was a time when there was no TikTok and Instagram. You actually had to talk to people. There was no
mobile
smartphones.
phones.
Yeah.
No.
The age
No
where
motor cars.
no motor car.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Back in the day, the tricycle. No.
Before there was oil.
We're social animals, human
Yeah.
beings.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
it's as simple as that. And the pandemic was a bad time for many reasons. And I think that the dregs of the pandemic are still around. I mean, it's nice for people to be able to work at home with their laptops and not go into the office, but is this feeling of isolation that is still hanging around since the pandemic, and I think it's, I hope we can do something about that and get back together again. But
Psychedelics.
Hey, Deepak
There we
Chopra
go.
was sitting. Deepak Chopra yesterday was sitting right there.
Is she here?
He was here. He went on a 20-minute monologue about the beauty and power of psychedelics for connecting to what you said: openness, connectivity, making us empathetic, making us talk to each other. He says the science is there, so it's not just he actually believes in
Yeah.
it. But
I did enough for everybody.
he goes, I did
Yeah.
it for humanity. Yeah, but bring it back to
So did I.
I'm tripping right now.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Bring it back to
Sorry,
theater
Mom.
and what Charles was saying, right?
Yeah.
About theater even, there is an engagement with an audience. There's trust when it comes to actors working together.
Yeah,
Without a
absolutely.
green screen, right?
Yeah.
How did you have technology, you have a global environment, but these actors, just tell the actors are getting along, they're talking to each other. When it comes to the plot, they have to be like this.
Yeah.
How'd you build that cohesion with the actors?
I mean, ironically, they trusted us from the plot perspective, and we actually, within the confines of that, we're able to trust them with the words. We're not precious writers. We don't, make people say, you have to say every syllable, and you have to say it
I
right.
see a Tarantino in you, though.
There was I was a young film student once, but no, as we encourage the actors to be a part of that process, and it's something to see when they all can kind of like, as long as you're coloring within the lines. It's a great thing to have all these minds on this subject, because even though this is a plot-heavy show and it's very convoluted, or not convoluted, but complicated, it is the minimum amount of plot to allow the maximum amount of character to come through.
Absolutely.
Well played.
I like that.
That is why, sir, you are the showrunner.
That was the psychedelics talking.
But
This is a guy who couldn't get into university because he took too many psychedelics.
and look at him now. Look at him now. You spoke about coloring, right? And I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. It does not fail to impress me that when I see a show like this, there is color in this show.
Yeah,
There are
hi,
people of color in
hello.
Not just the love interest, but a character who has dimensions. And the fact that a woman of color is a love interest.
Yes.
And the fact that, without giving too much away, your character doesn't play the token Asian stereotype with
Right.
the accent. He's a dude who happens just to be Asian, right?
It
And
just happens to be treated poorly.
She's not
White
bitter.
male.
Rob is not bitter at all.
Oh, but we got a great. Edward Homm was written as I don't know, I think Malaysian or something, or in the
whatever.
original script, and we had a lot of conversations, about just like perceptions and because the whole show is about perception. So we
So that
talked
was
about,
intentional, right?
And we
But-
did some tweaking based on, some stuff that Rob educated.
But I will
us
say
on.
the Robin method, like for both, right? When we were growing up, I'm much older. I didn't see this, right? And what does it feel like just to be playing a role, a meaty role, in a cool corporate espionage show with meat and layers?
You know what? I have, in these last couple of days, we've done some press, and a couple of the journalists, women of color, have been like, girl, you get to like be a human being. Like
The bar was so low.
the bar was like, you get to be funny and kick-ass and all these things. Like, thank you, because I feel like there has been a one-dimensional, for women, but also specifically for people of color, like you fit into like one category. And so this project is really interesting because we get to be fully human in all of I mean, she's super flawed, Hailey.
I think all the characters are
and-
super.
Everybody-
But also
Not hiding
has,
something.
Not
has,
the showrunners.
except for them. So it's been great,
And I'll say this, I give sincere compliments. I saw Rob in the first episode of Succession. I didn't know you before, but I said to my wife, I'm like, dude, this guy's going places. Because you made such an
I
impression.
thought the same thing.
Yeah, same
He
thing,
is
right?
going- he's going
You held
places.
toe to toe with Jeremy Strong, and I'm like, and it wasn't lost on me. An actor who happens to be Asian American, just holding toe to toe with Jeremy Strong, and then also in the menu, I'm like, hey, it's Rob from Succession, and now you're here. I mean, am I the when you're hearing me as a fanboy now, but do you see other people come to you and just that type of passion and enthusiasm?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually at Whole Foods when I'm like shopping.
Buying liver.
Yeah,
Are you that guy? What do they come to you? Are you that guy?
yeah. I'm like that guy that you think you went to high school with or something. It's like, wow, it's just like a.
But
Hey, man, how are you? It's like, and it's like I know you, and then we'll go to a different aisle, and then they'll catch up like.
Because they're on their
Like-
cell phone Googling.
Like I'll be reaching to get goat milk kefir or something, and then like, hey, man, I figured it out. I think it's great. Like I get like going back to the being a person of color. It's for me. I don't know how much of it is like the like I was just even walking up into here. It's almost like a existential sort of feeling that I have of like, oh, I can't believe I'm here, So how much of that is just conditioning of like, I never thought when I started acting that, I didn't really think about career stuff. And then
Yeah.
so like I'm sitting here, walking in here and I'm looking at the backs of these people that I've come to know and love. And it's extraordinary. And I think that when I meet, like younger Asian actors or stuff, they come up to me, and it's always about the work. They're always like,
That's what it is.
they're always like, hey man, I'm so glad you're out there, and it's so nice,
Yeah.
to see that.
And you're all out here with the living legend, Charles
Oh.
Dance.
Yeah.
Listen. This man has an amazing career.
He does.
Golden Child. Also, I'm going to name Alien 3. Alien 3 he was good. Killed too early. Spoiler alert.
Two Fincher
Theater.
movies.
Yes.
Not everybody can say that.
Yes.
Yes.
Theater, Game of Thrones, and what was it like just to be in the presence of this?
I have a good one. I have a good one. I have a good one. I remember the first time I met Charles, and we started talking or something, and I was kind of, I thought he was sweet, honestly, and then he said like, I suppose I've done 12 Shakespeares. And I was just like, wow, man, I'm just a boy.
Just a boy.
But Enid, going back and forth with Charles with the theater training was like a sparring partner, a pro.
I didn't get to work with Charles in the show, but I have had the great joy of talking to him, back in Toronto and here at the festival, and yeah, it's like a beautiful wealth of knowledge and stories about the theater and film. So
It's two final questions I have. It's going to be Charles oriented with the 1 minute I have left. There's a theme of the day with all the conversations we've had. Oftentimes snark is present, snark and rage, but we've chosen earnestness and sentimentality, and we've had a lot of talent. And the talent that comes on, they seem to really like each other. And so this is an earnest, safe space. And so Charles,
Yes.
with utmost sincerity and earnestness, what would you like to say to your cast? Just how it felt just being with them and being with them here.
It was one of the most enjoyable things I've done for a very long time. Because of them.
No, there you go.
And I include the
And the high showrunners.
Don't drag me
you
into
know,
this shit.
I mean, the whole thing. The whole thing, you know, I mean, the principal word about our industry is, you know, collaboration. And there was such collaboration on this show and such respect for each other. That's what I felt.
And here at South by Southwest Studio, I can't do it alone. We're doing it with a crew. We're doing it with people over there, camera folks, light folks. It's a community. That's what South by Southwest is. It's a community, tight-knit community. And I promised a woman right there, Diane, who's sitting right there. And
Diane.
she said, her friend said that she would give her a pizza, a whole fresh pizza, if Charles Dance could look in the camera and say what, Diane?
A Lannister always pays his debts.
Which camera should I look at? A Lannister always pays his debts.
Oh, there you go. Free pizza. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for
What was
coming.
that from?
It's a small independent show.
Was that from Golden Child?
Yeah.
Was that the Golden Child?
Long-running soap opera.
There were Shakespearean trained dragons in the show. The show is Rabbit Hole. Round of applause for the cast. No one spoiled anything. No one's gonna get fired.
very
Rabbit
good job.
Hole will begin streaming March 26th on Paramount Plus, and you can see our complete schedule of upcoming studio interviews on our website at sxsw.com/studio. And these interviews are live streaming during the event on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/sxsw. I'm your host, Wajat Lee. Thanks for watching.